It's Tuesday. It's power rankings. I said yesterday Louisville wasn't getting the number one love. I meant it. But we're going to talk about who is right on top and who, surprisingly, is at the bottom.
You are Locked On ACC, your daily podcast on the Atlantic Coast Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Going on, everybody? Welcome to today's edition of Locked On ACC. I'm your host, Candace Kenton, joined by Kenton Gibbs of Locked On Wolfpack. Each and every day, you can find us wherever you listen to podcasts. Make sure you download and subscribe to the pod from anywhere you listen, as well as our YouTube page. We know when you talk to us, we certainly will talk back. So go ahead and leave those lovely 5-star reviews and comments. We are talking about our power rankings after week 7 here on today's show. Today's episode is brought to you by our friends at PrizePicks. Now, each and every day, you can find yourselves going to prizepicks.com/lockedoncollege and using code LOCKEDONCollege for a first deposit match up to $100. Daily fantasy sports made easy. Kenton, we talk usually about how fans, feel a way about our picks, but today especially, it might get a little spicy because all the teams in between are going to feel maybe some love, maybe some disses, but either way it goes, we got to rock out.
Who cares? It's power rankings. Let's just be very plain about what this is, right? This is not about some teams, and we're getting toward that part of the season where fans are going to be upset saying, oh my God, you put us behind the team that we beat. Well, that team that you beat has gotten better, and your team has gotten worse. So that's where that's going to come from. Yes. But if
we love a trajectory here on this show, I will
exactly. And if the power rankings are not based on, oh, this team played this team and they won, therefore this team has to be behind this team. No, this is based on if these two teams were to play today, what would we think would happen? Would we think that this team would be in a good position, or with this team that won the first game, do we feel comfortable saying that they win again? And if not, then again, like I said, or like we have said rather, style points matter, how you're trending matters, all of those things matter here at Locked On ACC.
Everyone has girl math, boy math, guy math, all the things. We have Locked On ACC math here. So Absolutely. We can't always tell you how it adds up to y'all, but it adds up to us. And so that's why we're here in the show, but that's why we also love your comments. Let's start here at the bottom. Number 14, kicking us off here, Virginia. Although coming off a win, having a bye week, getting healthy, we still feel like there's a lot to prove within this season, and there's a lot to look forward to. So not terrible, but still not giving. It's not giving.
Absolutely not. And they're not putting themselves in a good future for the position by starting Tony Muskett. With all due respect, yes, Tony Muskett gives you the best chance to win games right now. Anthony Calandria is your future. He's your future. Let him make mistakes. Let him be young, dumb, wild, and free right now and rein him in. Teach him the lessons and let it go from there. But with that being said, this is, I think, the worst team in the conference, and I don't think that there will be too much disagreement there.
Anthony, Tony, all the things. But here's the thing. Why not redshirt him? Give him some time to grow. You just keep him in the back pocket, right, and let him learn. Why would you play him and waste a year of eligibility?
It is okay, I'm sorry, because this is...
Sound off. It feels like you had to get that out.
You sent me to a place that a lot of NC State fans sent me to when talking about MJ Morris. So I'm going to put my switchblade away here, okay? And I'm going to talk to you. By the way, I actually did have a blade in my hand. I was shaving my head earlier. That's neither here nor there. The fact of the matter is this.
Don't yell at me. We're right
here. It is 2023. Why are we still playing this red shirt game? Why are we still playing this? Oh, they're going to finish their career here. I could name a plethora of quarterbacks from the ACC that started here, but where did their careers finish? If Wake Forest said, hey, let's redshirt Sam Hartman, he'll finish up here, and we'll have our last year with him, would they have been correct?
No, they got their feelings hurt.
If NC State said that with Devin Leary, would they have been correct?
They would have got their feelings hurt as well.
Oh, okay. All right. Oh, you know what? You know what, Candace? I'm sorry. It's just we're not going to talk about teams in the state of North Carolina because maybe we just got bad luck with keeping quarterbacks. Phil Jakovic, he didn't start off at Boston College, did he?
He did start off at
Notre Dame. He started off at Notre Dame and transferred to Boston College. He then graduated. He then graduated and transferred to Pitt. So if Boston College or Notre Dame said we're gonna redshirt Phil for later on down the road, we're gonna put him in a little saran wrap, save him for later, would they have reaped the benefits of him?
I don't even think Garrett Schrader started at Syracuse while we're playing.
No, he didn't. He started off at Mississippi State. What are we doing with this? Oh, we need to redshirt him. Play the best man. But anywho, that's just UVA. That's why they're at the bottom.
Play the best man. We'll make sure I write that one down for you. All right, number 13. Speaking of Garrett Schrader, you might want to go revisit Mississippi State, the way things are going for them in the Big Apple. I think that the Syracuse Orange, you like what I did there, are struggling just a bit, trending down, and just not really a team right now that you can get excited about.
Not only is this team trending down, it's like they're burning out in like terrible fashion. Like, we know that they played the Island of Misfit Toys University for their first few games, but do you know what a tough feat it is to lose every game by more points than you lost the last one when your first loss of the season was by 17 points?
That just shouldn't happen.
17-point loss to Clemson, 33-point loss to North Carolina, and then the 38-point loss to Florida State. Yeah. That is insanely difficult. Doesn't matter how good the teams you're playing is. It's insanely difficult to lose to a team by 33 points and then lose by worse in the next game. Dino is done. Stick a fork in, bro. Don't worry about it. We will invite you on as a special guest host on Locked On because I like Dino a lot. I think
absolutely.
I think he has a lot of football knowledge. Come on and let's talk shop sometime.
I would love to give him an off-season go. So please know all the Syracuse fans, please tell him to come on Locked On ACC. We're a great time. I know he might be looking for a job in a couple months. So yeah, let's talk about that. Moving on to number 12, Wake Forest. Now, Wake, you can't be the worst team in the ACC standings. Not y'all. This is embarrassing.
Wake Forest,
and we were rooting for you.
The thing about Wake Forest that's so interesting to me is they've completely flipped the script. And the thing about Wake Forest is this is one of the most unfortunate incidents that I've ever seen a breakup where everybody loses. Everybody gets worse. Everybody gets worse because of it. Sam Hartman is now at Notre Dame where he's playing with worse receivers than he would have played with at Wake Forest.
Absolutely.
He could have been the difference between this Wake Forest team potentially being undefeated, maybe a one-loss team right now. And yet he's at Notre Dame with, 2 losses at this point? Mm-hmm. Nasty, nasty work. And then you've got Wake Forest, who now they can't piss a drop offensively. They can't move the ball at all. And you would think if somebody would have told you 3 years ago, Sam Hartman is still going to be playing college football in 2023, and Wake Forest is going to have a very good defense. But Wake Forest is going to be terrible. Would you have believed them?
No, never.
And yet here we are. So
it's a dang shame because I think that for all that we love about Coach Clausen and having really sound teams and really like minimal error type teams, it's just you got to get something going. They don't really capitalize off turnovers as much as they should. They don't get the ball moving like they should. They play their hearts out. I'll give it to them. They play great.
Hard. They play hard.
They need some transfer love. They need, some recruiting love. And this is a program that's built on bringing people in and sort of having that situation where you make people better. And in the era where you don't really have time for that, maybe it's looking at some coaching situations, coming up internally, having that introspection. Let's go to number 11, North Carolina State University. The Wolfpack in the bottom of the pack. It's been a while since they landed this far down, but when you get throttled by an in-state opponent, it's kind of coming to you.
Oh, no. Don't stop there. Don't hold
I'm trying
back.
To be nice.
No. We're not going to be nice to nobody on this show. NC State, come on down. Number 1, a team that has not beaten 2 FBS opponents in back-to-back games once this year. Very embarrassing. Let's move forward from there. Duke completed 4 passes in the entire game. 4, and you lost by 3 touchdowns. But wait a minute, let's keep it rolling, shall we? How under God's green earth did you have more drops? More dropped passes. And mind you, I don't count contested catches as drops. I think if if there is a defender that has his hands anywhere near the ball, I don't count it as a drop.
Sure.
This team had more drops than Duke had receptions and pass completions on the day. NC State, Robert and I stripped that offense down to the studs. Not a single player should be a guaranteed starter. Every single position should be wide open. It should be, and I know what you're thinking. Well, Ken, a position battle for every position in the middle of the season, that would throw off team continuity. Well, if the continuity just got me 3 points, to hell with your continuity. We need something new entirely.
I think you just throw that one away and you try again the next week. I think you just put 1 foot forward and you just scrap it. But I don't think you make a whole shift shake, because that just calls for a lot of confusion and drama.
And here's the thing, right? Mm-hmm. I'm a firm believer in, if I see like a new way to lose, or if there's like something different going on, then like, yeah, I 1,000% would agree with you and say, hey, here's the thing. Duke outplayed them, outcoached them, outclassed them. I'll give you that 1,000%. Duke is a very good team. With that being said, NC State beat themselves in ways that we have already seen this year. Mm-hmm. More drops. These boys got more drops than Future in 09. And what are we doing here? What are we doing here?
And that's why they need to be right where they are, and they're at the bottom of the pack.
Exactly.
Help church, Lord. All right. These days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. You want to be 100% certain that you have access to the best qualified candidates available. That's why you check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the right people for your team faster and for free. If you go to LinkedIn.com right now, you can post your job, add your purple hashtag hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you're hiring. Go to LinkedIn.com/LockedOnCollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply. Kenton Gibbs and I talking through what will be an exciting time for our power rankings, because we get to the top 10. Okay. Boston College, welcome to the party. You know, it's been a while since you've seen some sort of light towards your program, but hey, coming off a win against Army, getting a little bye week, rest and recover. Now we got to see where we're at here as a program.
Do we got to say it?
Yeah,
I think we got to say it.
I don't know.
These are officially the Fighting Halfleys. They're the Fighting the Halfleys are fighting everyone. They're doing their best. I'll tell you what.
Are they doing their big one?
Stop it.
All right.
After that loss against Louisville, I said to myself, oh, this team is done. They just lost by 28 points to Louisville. And let's just be honest. To say Louisville let their foot up off the gas is an understatement. For example, it was 42-14 at halftime. You double that up, and you don't just get 56. That's my point here. Mm-hmm. And yet, somehow, they have clawed their way out of that into 2 back-to-back wins against both Virginia and Army by the exact same score, by the way, 27-24. How interesting. But Castellanos, brother, you're doing the thing. You do. And you know what they say. Every time somebody named Castellanos make a big play, something terrible happens in the world. And boy, were they not lying. They were not lying at all. But that boy is balling. He is carrying this team on his back. I'm going to stop making that joke, Castellanos, because you don't deserve that. But that young man is absolutely crushing it right now. And the team is coming along with him. Let's just be very honest, right? Like, that is a team that allowed 42 points in one half. And then all of a sudden, the next 2 games, you only allow 48. That's improvement. That's what you want to see if you're Jeff Hafley.
1,000%. Let's get into Pitt, number 9 team, coming off a big win against Louisville, moving in the right direction. Sometimes all you need is that one big win to remind you of who you are. And I think that Pat Narduzzi and the boys certainly did the big one against Louisville. Excited to see kind of how they turn things around. Still a lot of season left, as you mentioned here on the show, but they're going to have to go brick by brick with this crew.
Okay, everybody can't do their big one all in this week. But more importantly, the team didn't get better. They made one very important switch. Let's just talk about it. Let's call a spade a spade. Phil Jakovic was on team number 3 for a reason. Okay? They got rid of that boy, and Peninsula P came back here immediately. He was running around the comments, ding dong, the witch is dead. For those of you who don't know, for those of you who are new to the show, Peninsula P is our longtime Pitt friend here who always comes in with huge energy for the Pitt Panthers. And let me tell you something. He came in here shouting from the rooftops, We replaced them. And look at the results. So at the end of the day, it's the year to backup quarterback in the ACC now. It's the year to backup quarterback because all these backup quarterbacks are crushing it.
I don't know because Drake May seems to be doing just fine by himself.
Okay, well, that's
and
one.
So does Jordan Travis.
Okay, that's two. Wake Forest has replaced their starting
Riley
quarterback.
Leonard.
NC State has replaced their starting quarterback. UVA
Haynes
has looked better.
King.
UVA has looked better with their backup quarterback. Louisville need to get Jack Plummer up out the paint, but we ain't gonna talk about that right now.
Tyler Van Dyke.
Tyler Van Dyke needs to be where he's at. He needs to be. He's good where he's at. But I'm just saying there are multiple teams.
I feel I hear you knocking, nephew.
You know. Well, let me in.
I feel you
let
knocking.
me in.
Okay. Tied for number 7. First time we've had a tie since we started power rankings. Week 7, no better fit than 7th place tie between Georgia Tech and Virginia Tech. Two teams that are rallying. They're feeling it. The vibes are there. They're not letting bad losses kind of hinder them. Bowling Green, Virginia Tech, after a after a really terrible start.
Yeah, rough start.
As I try and get it out, the Hokies found their quarterback, Kyron Jones, and fallen ever since. The vibes are there.
Let me tell you something. I don't like Kyron Jones. I love the guy. I love watching him play.
Now, see what happens when you like somebody a little too hard, they end up choking. So I need you to just relax.
Wow.
MJ Morris. Okay.
I'm not. I just said that those boys had more drops than Duke had receptions. But now, back to Kyron Jones. Exactly. Yes. Let's talk about a winner right now. Let's talk about a guy that's winning something. MJ Morris, you're a winner too. You're going to do it in time. You just need to get you some help. But now, let's talk about Kyron Jones. This man can do it all. You know what Wake Forest strategy was to beat them? Build a fence, make Kyron Jones throw the ball. That was their strategy. They said, hey, if we make him throw the ball, we'll be perfectly fine. He said, okay, y'all will be fine to the tune of 20 of 29, 321 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Baby, that man is showing out. He is showing all the way out. By the way, Kyron Jones has not thrown an interception at all in the month of October. The man is doing it. He's balling. He's crushing it. Keep showing out. And for Georgia Tech, their quarterback ain't too bad himself, Mr. Haynes King. Oh, boy, you bad. Right on that magic carpet, ain't got to worry about no gas. Mr. Haynes King. Him and that offense are showing out. You knew that Coach Key was going to get this team to turn around at some point in time, right? Like, we all knew that. We all knew that was going to happen. And then after that loss to Bowling Green, all of us thought, oh, man, we got with the snake oil again. We got by a coach that can't get it done again. This is Hafley all over again. And then all of a sudden, this Georgia Tech team gets just the greatest bounce of all time because Mario Cristobal got married to his beautiful wife, Jessica, in 2006, and he ain't took a knee since. And so Georgia Tech comes out with a win there. But honestly, the 3 turnovers that they forced against Van Dyke, those are vitally important because without those turnovers, you don't get this win.
I just want you to know the hell is hot. Okay, and I ain't going with your gasoline draws because it wasn't necessary.
I said he married his wonderful wife. She's a wonderful woman.
Caught astray. And I'm
She's a
telling
wonderful
you,
woman.
gasoline draws. Because we got to talk about Miami next because they're number 6.
Absolutely.
We still think they're the very good team, despite the fact that where they might be in the standings. I still think that this is a team who has a lot in front of them. That Carolina losses against a really good Carolina program, and they're just having a very stellar year. But I think Miami can still bounce back and get a top 4 to 5 finish when it's all said and done.
Like I said, 1 loss turns into 2.
Here you go.
2 turns into 3. 3 turns into losing the locker room, and then you get a call from the AD. Cristobal, you better figure it out quick, brother. You better figure it out quick. I will give Miami credit for this. That loss was not one that reeked of we hate you now. We don't want to play hard for you anymore. It didn't reek of that.
Absolutely.
Miami did battle, and that's why they are where they are. Because again, even in losing, style points matter. Okay. Yep. We saw certain teams down 3 touchdowns in the 4th quarter with no urgency. Yeah. That's why they're where they're at on this list. And we saw a team like Miami who fought till the last snap, till the last minute. And so, this is a good team. It's a quality team. It's just they're going through a tough stretch right now.
And this is going to be even tougher when we talk about that week 8 matchup against Clemson. So, hate it had to be y'all, but it had to be somebody. All right, let's talk about PrizePicks right quick. We need you to know that PrizePicks is the most fun that you can have with your money by winning up to 25 times your money for this football season. You just select 2 or more players, pick more or less their projected stats, and place an entry. With PrizePicks, you can get a reboot policy that allows you to get your players, even if they are injured, for NFL games and college football top 25 matchups. So you have a player who exits the game in the first half and does not return in the second. That player is rebooted. PrizePicks is the only daily fantasy sports platform with injury insurance. Go to prizepicks.com/lockedoncollege. Use a LOCKEDON code for a first deposit match of up to $100. Again, prizepicks.com/lockedoncollege. Visit them today. Kenton Gibbs and I talking through ACC Power Rankings. It's week 7. We're feeling good. We're feeling the vibes, but we got to get into the top 5. Clemson, still feel like you're a great team because if you look at the ones below you, all feel like they.
Whoa. Great is a stretch. I'm sorry.
It feels like you're a solid team as I'm trying to do my intro, talking about cutting off. And I think that you can beat the 6-14 group, right? Mm-hmm. I think you can do it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. I think that, the teams that have beaten you are above you, and that's cool. We're still going to give Clemson some credit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a win is a win, right? Like the thing that's making this so interesting is a lot of people are doing this thing to Clemson where they've been so good for so long that when they're average or slightly above average, people then say like, oh my God, they're terrible. No, they're just not a great team anymore. They're good, pretty good. They're really good at running the ball. Their defense is still stout. They're good. They're not great. They're good. They're not terrible. They're good.
But I think everyone had very high expectations with Garrett Riley hire. And I think they've been sorely disappointed with it was DJ the problem. Oh, it was, of course, the offensive coordinator were looking too much within. We need to bring somebody from the outside. Well, you said brought somebody from the outside and how that working out for you?
Again, I had questions about Garrett Riley coming in. I was not shaking in my boots when Garrett Riley came because I said, if Sonny Dykes can do one thing, he can put points on the board. I am sorry to tell y'all this. I have never thought to myself, oh my God, SMU is coming to town. This is going to be a defensive struggle. Like, that's who Sonny Dykes is. And so that's before Garrett. Now, if you see success with a certain coach and you look through all of his teams, he's the common denominator. I'm not looking at anybody else. But with that being said, let's talk about what Clemson does well. Again, this defense, they have guys showing up that you would not expect. Like I've talked about Xavier Thomas showing up. Of course, Makuba was a guy everybody expected to show up. They battled through some injuries so far this season to still show up defensively. Offensively, if they can figure out some playmakers to kind of work around, like a playmaker not named Maffa or Shipley, they'll be all right. But right now, it's seeming like a struggle to get receivers open or to win those one-on-one matchups and those jump balls. So we'll see.
Yeah, 100% agree there. Talking about number 4, Louisville dropped from the number 1 spot. Hate it had to be you. That Pitt loss was crazy. Not something, though, where we truly write you off, right? Still a lot of season left. But one where you say to yourself, let's have a hard look in the mirror and decide who we want to be. We've gotten punched in the mouth. It happens all the time. But how you recover really says much more about the program.
And not only that, Louisville still has everything in front of them. Right? Like you're about to play Duke coming up here in a couple of weeks. So obviously that's going to be a huge game. That's probably going to be Riley Leonard's first game back. And then after that, you have a schedule that's very favorable. Virginia Tech and Virginia, both at home. You go on the road to Miami, and then, of course, you're playing Kentucky to close the year out. They could still do a lot of special things. They could still – but the problem is this. Louisville has just shown us. We know that they can beat every team on this schedule. Now we know they can lose to every team on this schedule.
Absolutely.
Which Jack Plummer do we get? Which one shows up?
You leave that boy alone.
It's the truth.
Leave that man alone.
Oh, I'm sorry. I guess we got to start a line for Locked On here. I ain't going to do that. If you want to tell your lie, you tell your lie, but I'm going to tell the truth. I'm going to tell like a TI is, and that's just what I'm going to do.
Every time. Let's talk about number 3, Duke, who, despite the fact that you were really hard on them for not having Riley Leonard and his rushing and all the things, they were still able to figure it out and not just keep it simple, stupid. If we know the run game going good, let's just run that ball into the ground. If we know that our defense is going to be sound, let's just make sure we hold them 3 points. And that's exactly what they did. Duke is really that program, which is good or bad for them because they're really making Elko look better and better, which is making him more desirable in the market.
So the lowest scoring team in the ACC right now is Virginia with 22 point some odd points per year. They just held NC State to 3. 1/7 of that. This defense is elite. They're amazing. They have playmakers at every level. And with that being said, not only do they have playmakers at every level, what did I say they were last week, Candace? What did I say they were? Physical. Mm-hmm. Physical. You have got to be ready. I called playing Duke an ice bath game because they're going to beat you up. It's going to be a physical game. And look what happened. They beat NC State with 4 completions. Is that physical enough for you?
Right.
Is that physical enough for you?
Absolutely. And it's not even just like it's one guy, right? They are just feasting all the way around when it comes to that defense. And I think that's what makes them so incredibly dangerous. Every single game, you don't know who's going to have the total score and or the most tackles in a game and all the things. So it's a really great time over there in Blue Devil country. Let's talk about number 2, UNC, who I could argue number 1, but I ain't going to because, we're major homers on this show. North Carolina, taking care of business. And that's all you can ask for a team that has high expectations, is meeting those expectations. Not doing it too flashy. Sometimes it looks ugly. Sometimes they have to make hard fought. Sometimes they have to come back and win things, but they never count themselves out of it and they end up with a W. So that's all you can ask for right now.
The only reason they are where they are at this moment in terms of being number 2 instead of number 1 is because, like we have always said on this show, style points
matter.
They matter. And when you look at their win over Miami, hey, they dominated the game for the most part. However, they let Miami right back in the room to end this game off. They made this game much more compelling, much more close, much more exciting than it had to be to end this thing off. And so with that being said, they're doing pretty much everything that you could imagine right offensively. I mean, they're running the ball at a high level. Of course, Drake May is always going to be passing the ball well. And again, when a young man has the whole United States government coming out to write the boy letters, he can ball. He can do it.
Don't crack that joke no more. Tez is back, and that's what it is. Don't crack that joke no more. Let it go.
I will crack any joke that I want.
Let it
go. That young man is such a baller. He gonna get the governor. He gonna get the AG. He gonna get your mama. He gonna get your daddy. He gonna get your uncle. He may get Jesus to write him a letter.
And, I think what's great about this UNC team right now is, while they are very much high on it.
Like I'm not also.
While they're very high, I also think it's very important to say that they haven't necessarily played somebody yet. So I think that's what makes you not want to get them that number 1 ticker. They still have to wait and see who is going to really, go toe-to-toe up against them to the wire. And we might not see that to the ACC championship with Florida State, but I'm definitely excited to see how things kind of roll out for them.
I mean, I don't think that they have exactly a cakewalk schedule in front of them.
No, the hardest part of their season is coming up. And that's why I say I hope they don't get too comfortable and coast like they haven't. Like their matchups aren't going to get more challenging.
Yeah, I 1,000% agree. But like we said, style points matter. Letting Miami back into this game, it's not ideal when the team that you're going up against for number 1, they did not let anybody else back in nary a game last time they played. So
Florida State ends here at number 1. I know all the Seminole fans are going to be so excited. I would just say that I'm happy that they dominated a really good former Atlantic Division foe. More importantly than that, we hope that Jordan Travis, we saw a little wrist action, a little arm action. Everyone gets healthy. Johnny Wilson continues to get healthy. But damn it, if you ain't got so many weapons to feed, Toa Feely, Benson, right? You got a lot in Keon Coleman. You have really sound defense. Keep winning. Keep doing it handedly. Keep your eyes set on the prize, which we all know is, college football playoff championship and potentially ACC championship.
Yeah, this is a really good team. They're doing what they're supposed to do. They're not there is a maturity to a team required to run the table.
Mm-hmm.
There's a maturity required. And there's even more of a maturity required to truly dominate along the way, which they're doing at points this season. I said that there was no big bad boogeyman in the ACC. Florida State may shut me up about that coming forward in these next couple of weeks because, I mean, let's just be honest. Let's be totally honest. Whooping the wheels off Syracuse don't make you the boogeyman. We've seen plenty of teams whoop the wheels off Syracuse, so that doesn't put you in that territory. However, with what they've done in multiple games this year, talking about showing up and dominating here, I mean, hey, they can very easily move into that kind of, oh man, this is not a game that anybody would want, and you can go ahead and pencil into as nail territory in terms of what we see from them against Duke, what we see from them against Miami, what we see from them against Florida. It'll say a lot.
Absolutely agree. That's our list, 1 through 14. If you feel away, great. If you don't feel away, even better. Give us your own list, right? Hit it to us in the YouTube comments. Let us know how you're feeling about these programs right now. We're over halfway through the season, which I can't believe. Time is definitely flying. It's exciting. We got our Week 8 matchups to talk through. We got our he said, she said, fan said stuff. Wednesday, we're going to read some comments, right? We're going to let y'all know and really talk through some of the feelings before we turn the page and go through the rest of the week. Make sure you're all set up and ready to go. So don't forget to check out all of our shows here at Locked On Podcast Network. For Candace Cooper and Kenton Gibbs, we hope you have a great
And always remember, the community polls are already up for the games this week, folks.
Thank you for that exit. For Candace Cooper, Kenton Gibbs.